I'm a believer that this team's going to win the national championship.
Something stupid is coming out of his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my age. He needs his vote pulled immediately. And of course, yes, a season like this has to have a name.
Let's talk about something good about Justin Freck. What are you doing?
The season of dreams. Ohio State, my guys, are either the best or the second best program in the history of college football.
This guy is a bonehead. They love him.
I question your judgment as an adult. I really do.
I was a total hater. I know that for a fact, and I just don't get it.
Get us back our sleeves.
And say, bring me that. That's the one I want.
And welcome in, friends from Pasadena. It's your buddy. I'm out here enjoying the wonderful weather. There is a lot of smog in the area, and it smells like sulfur. This particular smog that has settled in Pasadena this week. I'm not sure what that's all about, but we're having a good time, man. Mrs. Juck is not too happy. It's not too warm, but we're having a great time. I'll show you some pictures, guys. I'm telling you, I was all around Pasadena all day today and went and looked at the floats, all that jazz. Went outside the stadium. There was a bunch of alumni parties going on. There was an official, like a bull bash, and the Buckeye band and the dance team showed up. Here's a little snippet of that. Our man there practicing dotting the I for the biggest moment of his young life. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, what a day so far, as Rod points out. So far the Big Ten 4-1 against the SEC, and it's funny watching the reaction. All of a sudden, all the SEC folks who have pounded that bowl record every single year when they're destroying everybody else are talking about meaningless bowl games, and it's quite funny. They're having a hard time accepting the change in the landscape with a lot of the mid-tier. And Chris Drew and I just talked about this earlier this afternoon. We're going to do a deep dive on this. The mid-tier Big Ten teams now investing since the big TV deals, since NIL, since the portal. And we're starting to see they're 1 through 35 on the roster. Obviously, 1 through 85 still doesn't look anything like a lot of these SEC schools, but 1 through 35 does. And that's what's really showing up on the field. It's getting a lot more fun. It's getting a lot more interesting. And we got Penn State 14-7. It looked like they were gonna run away with this real quick, but we'll see what happens. I still think Penn State ends up pulling away in this game tonight. But it's all about the Bucks and the Ducks over here, guys. Early reports from around the stadium, around all over. Substantially more Duck fans here. We're coming late to the party. Last time we played the Ducks, it looked like it was about 50-50 from the aerial shots from 2010, last time in the Rose Bowl. We'll see what we get tomorrow. Probably not that much, but I think that we're going to see a whole lot more Buckeyes showing up than we saw today, because the way it looked today out and around the stadium and around the city, it was like 70-30 Ducks. So there's no way it's going to be like that in the stadium. But thanks, brother. I really liked it. I saw it on Twitter yesterday, and it said they were selling them in this lot. So I went out to get this hat, and I got there, and it was $80. And I was like, man, I'm not doing it. But then I did it anyway. and I had to get this scarf because I love this scarf. So I got the hat, I got the scarf, and I'll probably have to get my kids some stuff on the way out too. Buck Vader's New Year's resolution is to win a natty. I wish we could set those for them. That would be awesome. But the closer closer we get to game time, I don't know how you guys are feeling. I'm starting to get more confident. Because when I'm looking at some things and looked at some more film and looked at some more pictures and cut up some more stuff, I want to show you something. So, what do we think the easiest thing is for either of these teams to quickly fix that can make a big difference in the game? For me, I think it's Ohio State's ability to be ready for tempo, which they weren't at all in game one. And I'm going to show you an example, just one of a dozen examples. Right here, having a look at this picture right here, you can see Sonny Styles right there. He's turned around. He has his back to Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel has the ball in his hands, getting the snap right there. And Gabriel is so good that he's essentially playing 11 on 10 right now, and he knows it, and he immediately swings the ball out and takes advantage of Sonny, who had his back to the play. Because he wasn't ready for tempo, because the Buckeyes were not ready for tempo. And there's no way they're going to make that mistake again. So, sure, they'll catch the Buckeyes slipping a few times with that, but it's not going to be a dozen. We had defensive linemen looking to the sideline when the ball was snapped. I mean, there's just a dozen examples of this. That won't happen again. And just by virtue of simplifying things and making sure that they're ready and lined up and ready to go, you're going to take that and make that, instead of 12 plays where they're not ready, 2 plays. And that is an immediate difference. If the Bucks can get 2 more stops than they got the first time, huge difference. Just a couple more stops. And I'm of the opinion in these games that it's just going to be higher scoring. The offense generally wins. They're generally more high scoring games. And a couple more stops than the Bucks got the first time, they're going to win. I think they're definitely going into the game offensively with the game plan. We got to get mid-30s. We're going for mid-30s right here. We want 35 points. Ducks scored 32 the first game. Buckeyes get 1 more stop. We're looking good. But nonetheless, it's an elimination game, and I'm nervous. I don't want the season to end. It's been so much fun. It's been very frustrating at the same time, but a ton of fun. And I don't want it to end. So we're getting closer. Interested to see what you guys to think the night before. Dave's confident Ohio State can move the ball. I am too. I think this is something I feel really good about. I really do. And I also think with the mojo remaining with the team from last week, I think they're going to be really, really confident as well. Their DBs cannot handle our wide receivers. Unfortunately, I feel pretty similarly on the other side of things. I think their wide receivers are really, really good. And I know that we're going to do, a lot more simulated pressure, a lot more stunting on the defensive line. We're going to have much more for them to deal with. We're going to have much more to get Dillon Gabriel off his spots. He had way too much time to let them cook Denzel last game. But Buckeye Rad, what's up, buddy? If it wasn't me going to the game, I wouldn't wish it was anyone else other than Juckeye himself. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that, guys. This is a true bucket lister for me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys. I thought that the time had passed where we would ever really see the Buckeyes in a really consequential Rose Bowl. Just a traditional. This has a traditional Rose Bowl feel, and it's obviously the consequences are as big as consequences get. And I didn't think I'd ever make it to one. So I'm just kind of floating on a cloud, man. It's just going around the city and actually just walking up to the stadium today. It was just like, oh my gosh, the mountains really are right there. And man, there are some houses that look down into the Rose Bowl on top of these mountains. I'm just thinking, man, that is awesome. How about that party for a Rose Bowl party at those houses up there? But it is so cool. It's so cool. And everybody around here got a real small town feel, and they're really happy that everybody's coming in. Really happy. We've talked to a lot of the locals, really happy that they get to see people come in like me that have this stupid look on their face all week. Like, I can't believe I'm here. Like, that makes us feel so good that you get to come here to little Pasadena and really, yeah, high dollar, that's for sure. I hope the Buckeyes win and you have a great time, Juck. Thanks, Buckeye One. Appreciate you. How much Juck buck if a Juck buck can't Juck buck? I don't know, but I'm spending a lot of bucks. I'll tell you that. It's not cheap. It's not been cheap. Everything's quite expensive out here. A lot of good food, a whole lot of good food. They got a really cool little Old Town. They call it Old Town. When I hear Old Town, I think something different. But it's a really cool place. There's just blocks and blocks and blocks of really unique locally owned restaurants and cool bars. And I was getting out, and this one Uber driver said to me, "Now this is our dive bar," and I mean it's a really dive bar, but you might want to check it out because it's a cool part of our history. Because when I go somewhere, I like to really, talk to the locals and find out, what they like to do. So he was telling me that. So I walk up. I don't drink, so I go close and kind of just look in this dive bar. Now I'm a former drinker. I'm familiar with what a dive bar looks like in Akron and Cleveland. This was the most posh dive bar I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty funny, but he really thought it was quite the drag of a dive bar. But nah, man, cool place, really cool people. I'm really liking it. Steely Matt, familiar with Old Town Pasadena? Yeah, awesome food and bars. Oh man, I've kind of been out of the loop, Rod. Rod said Herbie taking an absolute beating today on Twitter after that Bama loss. I bet. So a lot of times I talk to people about, why, do I wish I went to more games? And while I do like going to some games, it's a different experience. But the truth is, guys like us who are so immersed in all of college football, you miss out on the daily narrative when you go to a game. Like, I don't know anything Rod's talking about right now, and I want to know all that. I want to be in on all that. That's great. That's part of the reason I love college football so much. That stuff. Herbie stumped for Bama, said we shouldn't pay attention to wins when we're choosing the 12 best. Nancy, how you doing, Nancy? So glad you arrived safely. Have a great time. Appreciate you. Oh, I got a picture that did I download that picture? Oh, dang it, I didn't download it. So media days we had yesterday, and Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard had some things to say. I talked to Dylan. Dylan got to interview Julian Sayin. So Dylan's been telling me for a while that his favorite part of the season, like one of his favorite days, is the bowl media day where they get to go and they get an hour and they get to talk to all the young guys because they don't get to talk to the young guys all year. So he did a hit with Julian Sayin and Edric Houston, and we'll have Dylan on next week and talk to him about those interviews. But that was cool stuff. But Dylan Gabriel said this. I'm going to play this for you. This dude is something.
We love the Rose Bowl. We love warm weather. I think we should play more football on nice grass instead of our artificial stuff. And the more sun, the better. Why do we do it to ourselves? Like, do fans want to sit in the snow and the rain? And let's just make arenas. Let's make domes. Let's do grass. Let's do more fireworks at games. Yeah, let's do that.
This is look. I don't know if he's joking, if he's like a stoner. I don't know, but I've not seen that part of his personality. It was pretty funny. It had me laughing. Meanwhile, Will Howard got cooked the night before for coming off the bus, and they set up a couple interviews for the captains, and Will talked. And Will comes off the bus, and Dennis Dodd kind of asks him, Will, do you find yourself beating yourself up for the way the Oregon game ended the first time? And Will just kind of went on to say, yeah, he does. And the truth is, nobody beat us this year. We beat ourselves. And that was not, it didn't go over well at all. Him saying we beat ourselves. And he was, it fits in with the narrative that they have about Ohio State. Excuse you. They call him Excuse You. And there's always an excuse for this, an excuse for that. I didn't like it when he said it after the game. I know a lot of people do think Ohio State did beat themselves in the first game. And, to a certain I agree to a certain part. I think the tough thing to do, this is why I hate it. I hate it when Ohio State beats somebody and one of their players says, we beat ourselves. It's like, man, own your loss. Just own your loss. Give your opponent props. Yeah, they got us. They were the better man. Like that's the toughest thing to do. That's what a tough guy says to me. A tough guy says they beat us. Like that's hard. That's hard to do. Saying we beat ourselves is kind of like, all right, man, I don't really like it. But Will got cooked for it. Cooked pretty hard. And then Dylan Gabriel came out and saved him with that. Like, I don't know what that is. But the Bucks came out with a new hype video today. Let's have a look-see at that new hype video. It's pretty sweet.
We're ready for this opportunity. I'm just so fired up that, you know, God blessed us with the second chance at this thing. You know, go out there and right the wrong from that game. And you don't get second chances a lot in life. You know, it just doesn't happen.
Try to take everything from us. Everything that you want. Everything. Go out there, play with a relentless effort, unknown to mankind, for the love of your brother, man. Yeah. You gotta do that. Play in, play out, 60 minutes in the game.
The drama and the dreams have all come down to the granddaddy of them all. It's the Rose Bowl game.
The tradition, the pageantry, there's nothing like this venue, in my opinion, in all of sports.
You handle adversity, if you stay with the plan, you'll have a chance to have a special night on the floor of the Rose Bowl.
Jeremiah Smith, sensational. You fight for everything you believe in. Each other, this program, we fight tonight. Fight on 3, 1, 2, 3. Fight. Forward, together as a team. We got it out in front of us. It's all there. We've been working towards this. I'm telling you, greatness is right here. We're gonna knock through that door. The world needs to see that though. And so we gotta believe in that.
One of the best ones I've seen. It's got my juices flowing. Everything does, guys. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to pull up and see the tailgate scene tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, I am running on empty, and we have got to go get something to eat. We got 17-7 Penn State over Boise. I thought they would have pulled away a little quicker. I do suspect that they're still going to put the hammer down and put them away pretty hard in the second half. So excited to see that. But I'm going to go head out and find another one of these cool spots to go eat at in Old Town Pasadena, and I'll give you guys an update tomorrow from the tailgate scene, and we'll talk then. But until then, have a great and safe New Year's Eve. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Juckonbucks out. Hey, it's Juck.
Juck? Who is Juck?
Juckonbucks.
Juckonbucks. Juckonbucks?
Juck.
Juckonbucks.
My guy Juck.
Juckonbucks.
My buddy Juck.
Juck is the Juck.
It's Juckonbucks.
Okay. Juck is junk.
The Juck Eyes.
Juck Eyes.
Juckonbucks.
Junk. Juck. Not junk. Juck.